Julian Sayin, Jeremiah Smith, and the Ohio State Buckeyes host Drake Lindsay and the Minnesota Gophers in this primetime matchup at the Shoot. Let's start with the Buckeyes because there was questions that needed to be answered. How will this team respond with a first-year starting quarterback on the road against a good Washington team? Well, it certainly helps when you have a defense that might be the best in college football. They only hold that team to 6 points. We'll talk about that defense in a second here. But Julian Sayin, completion percentage, yeah. Did he turn the ball over? No. 2 touchdowns, efficient on the day. I feel like there's more that can be added to his plate. So the haters will say that the Buckeyes look a lot like they did last year offensively, play calling. It's so conservative early in the game. I really disagree with that. I think this is a team that is catering towards the end result of winning every single game that they play, wanting to add a little bit more to the plate of their quarterback when he is ready. I think that is this week. Expect them to air it out. Minnesota started out down 14-0. They were in a barn burner against Rutgers last week. Came down to a 56-yard field goal that, frankly, if Kaliak Manis doesn't drop the snap, that thing would have been closer. We're looking at an overtime game. The Buckeyes coming out of the gates, storming, throwing the football vertically down the field. Carnell, Tate, one-on-ones, if it's there, and Jeremiah's doubled like he was for most of the day against Washington, absolutely going to see them taking that. I think this is a big day. Carnell, Tate over 100 yards and a touchdown, because you know Minnesota is going to try and do what Texas did, what Washington did. Jed Fish's team came out against Ohio State and decided, hey, we're going to try and take away their best player. It just so happens that their best player at sometimes is arguably Caleb Downs or Arvell Reese on defense, and Ohio State had answers on that side of the ball. Offensively, you've got real problems trying to cover Smith, and it wasn't just him, right? Bo Jackson developing very well as a featured running back in this offense. He's RB1 in my opinion. I know that he is in yours too. It's not just the name, it's the way that this kid has that good contact balance. He's got just a little bit more burst than what Peoples has. And hey, CJ Donaldson, another touchdown in this game. He's been reliable on fourth down. Would you like to see the Buckeyes have picked up that 4th and 1 earlier in that game? This game have been a blowout and you just throw them out of the building quicker? Sure. But the adversity, you're down 3-0. You have to get a drive at the end of the first half in order to feel a bit better. Then they come out the second half. That middle 8 that Ryan Day talked about and always talks about, executed to perfection. Ohio State comes into this game clearly as, I think, the best team in the country because of their red zone defense. There's no team in college football that has a weapon that is like historical at this point, dating back to last year against Oregon, a goal line stand. Then they come back out of the bye. Nebraska, a goal line stand. Penn State, a goal line stand. The interception by Jack Sawyer in the Michigan game. And then it's the Texas goal line stand. You keep coming up with these, and then you continue to this year. Texas, the goal line stand, 4th and goal. And then this past week, the way they played in the goal line, no touchdowns so far on the season from a team that's been in the red zone. I mean, these are unbelievable things. Washington had the ball 1st and goal at the 2 and can't punch that in. Why? Edric Houston, Caden McDonald, Caden Curry, 3 sacks on the day. Are you kidding me? Kenyatta Jackson, one of the most underrated edge players in college football. Caden Curry's getting his flowers now. I mean, this guy had a sack in the Rose Bowl, a little bit more known to the Ohio State community. I saw his family at the Rose Bowl. Didn't say hi to him, but you can see all of them all in their 92 jerseys. It's pretty cool. But this team is playing with a lot of confidence on that side of the ball. And against Minnesota, not to say this isn't a team with weapons. Look, they had a really nice completion, a deep ball. I was very much so impressed with the weapons watching their game against Rutgers. It was like, this team has a little bit more to offer than what I think Buckeye fans might be giving them credit for. There might be all the talk about one of the Smiths in this game for Ohio State, but how about Jalen Smith from Minnesota? He had a great grab on a beautiful dime ball from his quarterback, airing that thing out, a beautiful route. And this team showed a little bit of explosives on offense. That's something that the Buckeyes absolutely will have to keep in front of them. You cannot let the top be taken off. I'm expecting a lot of too high with the confidence that, of course, Caleb Downs has the versatility to come down. You can show too high in this Matt Patricia defense, and you have no idea what it will look like by the time the ball is snapped. For all intents and purposes, Caleb Downs could be right on the edge, getting after the quarterback. He could be in the middle of that defense. He is such a chess piece that is, frankly, maybe more fun to watch than Jeremiah, if that's even possible, in the way that he's utilized and doesn't miss tackles. Maybe didn't have the sexiest game on the stat sheet, but he showed up in some big moments with some really nice plays. He just does not miss tackles. I mean, if it's 3rd and 2 and a guy's going to lean to get the first down, makes a stop, it forces a 4th and 1. I remember that Washington picked it up with Damon Williams, but it forces them into a 4th yardage situation because he makes the tackle and he forces them to play one more play. It's kind of like a tennis player. I had some experience playing tennis. It's like, keep making one more shot. Caleb Downs, one more tackle, force them to come up with something, and that's what the Buckeyes do in the red zone. It's not like a bend, don't break, because they don't even break most of the time. But if they do bend a little bit, this team in the red zone has been the best in college football over the past 2 years, and frankly is doing something that historically is kind of unparalleled. The fact that you can get down there and it's like almost a guarantee that you're only going to get 3 points unless you come up with a ridiculous play. I really have to tip my cap to what they've done so far and how Matt Patricia has taken that over. Now, let's talk about what Minnesota can try and do to stay in this football game as long as possible. For starters, you got to get a couple of first downs. Extend your first possession of this game. It is vital to come out and at least get, Urban Meyer talked about it before the Texas game. I'm going to take a little bit of it because I like it. Get 2 first downs, flip the field a little bit, get the ball to the 45, the midfield, so that on that possession, whether or not the Buckeyes got the ball first or you're getting it first, you can pin them a little bit deep. If you come out with a 3 and out and then Brandon Innish is back there, he's gotten a little bit of some heat from the Buckeye fans, but he bounced back, had some better play in the second quarter after he muffed that punt. But you don't want to be in that spot immediately. It puts you behind the 8 ball. Now, that secondary, I don't even know really at this point how you can attack it. It looked like Lorenzo Styles is the only weak link in a sense. They were playing a little bit of cover 3, and we saw a couple of seams open up in the middle of that defense 2 or 3 times. But besides that, this team is getting pressure with 4. Arvell Reese is able to cover anything if there's a sense of a threat of a mobile quarterback, and that's not at all what Drake Lindsey's game really is. He's been a bit more of that pocket guy. He's been effective in there in targeting down the football field. And as far as what they do running the football, they're pretty good at it. They like to obviously balance it out. Minnesota's your typical Big Ten football team. They want to run the ball. That will be very tough against that Buckeye defense. Again, led, I would say, at this point by Arvell Reese. He's getting more attention than Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles, no chump. 100 tackles a year ago, 6 sacks. He looks like a day 1, day 2 pick in the 2026 draft. Buckeye fans are praying that Arvell Reese maybe comes back another year. We'll see. He's playing at maybe a level that can get him an All-American nod, second team, maybe at the very least, but I know they would love for him to be back once again next year. How the Buckeyes will attack Minnesota, I believe it's another heaping amount of Bo Jackson, getting him something like 15, 16 carries. Continue to ramp up the aggression and making him solidify his spot as running back number 1. Remember now, you've got Illinois on the road next week. That's a team that just pulled off an incredible win against USC, bouncing back in a major way after ridiculous adversity, being blown out 63-10 in horrendous fashion. They got some guys back. So this is a get-right situation for Ohio State. Get the kinks out of the offensive line, of your passing attack, because that's a team in Illinois that's good up front in the trenches. And against Minnesota, an opportunity against a little bit of a lower quality opponent to work on continuing to get Bo confidence and your quarterback Julian Sayin confidence. These first-year starting players, that's the main thing. That's the main word. We talk about confidence. Brian Hartline, getting him completions, getting Bo Jackson as many touches of the football so that when you get into these ranked matchups a little bit later on in the season, once it turns to the month of October and then November, that you have a lot more of a reliable guy, that you have built trust in him to be a weapon. I'd like to see him utilized a little bit more in the screen game. Have not seen the Buckeyes really go to the screen a whole lot. You can make that a credit to the offensive line. It doesn't felt like they've needed to go there, that they've been holding up in protection. They haven't played a defense that just gets a ton of pressure, and that's getting to Julian Sayin immediately. How do we mitigate that pass rush? It's being able to come up with screens. I haven't needed to do that. There's some good players on that Minnesota defense. Frankly, they played, I thought, pretty sound after the first couple possessions, and Rutgers just jumped out on them. They were pretty sound the rest of that game. The Buckeyes in this unit, I want to see them give Julian Sayin, 27 attempts, air this thing out, get Max Klare going a little bit more. It's been 4 games now, and the Buckeyes still have had some success to Max Klare. He had a beautiful catch on the sideline on a bit of an over route. Continue to get him going, because what happens if you send a deep vertical for Tate on one side, Jeremiah Smith on the other? The wide open part of the field will be the middle if they are deciding to double or shade the coverage over to those two guys. Or you'll have Bo Jackson in the flat, or Brandon Innes out of the slot. There's such versatility to this Ohio State Buckeye offense and what they're able to do, because the offensive line is protecting well. So that's my expectation as far as the lean goes in this game. I have to tell you, I think the Buckeyes win it in a big way. 41-10 is what I have. I mean, the way that the defense has played so far against that Washington team with Williams and Jonah Coleman and Denzel Boston, I think they're going to give teams a lot of trouble down the stretch. Like, they've got Oregon later on in the season at home coming in there. Don't sleep on them. Maybe having a shot in that game in a bit of a rivalry matchup. This is a pretty good Washington football team. So to beat them in that manner and just sort of put the hammer to them, putting the hammer down in the second half, thoroughly impressive from this squad. So I'm going to go 41-10. Ohio State comes out with the win. Continue to see the progression of Julian Sayin week to week. He gets better, and for Minnesota, it really is just stay in the game as long as you can. Try and run the football, get your team some easy completions. It's just tough to attack them because the underneath stuff gets taken away so fast with the athletes like a Styles, and Downs, and an Arvell Reese. So don't turn the football over. Try to throw it over the head. If I'm going to attack somebody, it'd probably be Lorenzo Styles out of the slot or in the middle areas of the football field up the seams, but that's about all I got, because Matt Patricia is certainly dialing it up. So let me know down below in the comments whether you agree, disagree with my prediction. What do you think Minnesota's got a better chance with that? What do you think that the Buckeyes come away with another big win before their game against Illinois on the road in a week? Appreciate you so much for watching. I make NFL and college content every single day, so make sure to subscribe for more videos in the future, and I will see you next time. Thank you.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder. Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Blunder.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.